Don't let her touch the will. I never thought that a little warning from a child could change everything, especially not in a situation like mine. It all started with Zora, a little girl, barely 8 years old, standing at the edge of the room, whispering something that sent chills down my spine. "Don't let her touch Mama's will," she said, her voice so calm and sure. At the time, I thought it was just another one of her little girl fantasies. But oh, how wrong I was. You see, I had just lost my wife, Imani, a brilliant woman, a neurosurgeon who fought harder than anyone to pave a path for Black women in medicine. She passed away unexpectedly, leaving behind me and Zora, her young daughter from a previous marriage. And since the funeral, things had been hard. The house felt empty, the days dragged on, and I tried to find a balance between running a hospital and being a father to a child who had just lost her mother. Zora was different from most kids. She was quiet, observant. I had never seen anyone her age grasp things the way she did. I'd catch her sitting with her mother's lab coat clutched tightly to her chest at night. Her eyes were always searching for answers I couldn't quite give her. But then there was Catherine Whitley, a woman I thought was helping. She worked with Imani, and after her death, she started showing up at our house more and more, bringing casseroles, making sure we were doing okay. But it wasn't just the food she brought herself, and before I knew it, she was always there. She was efficient, calculating. At first, I welcomed it. I needed someone to handle the little things, the paperwork, the mundane details that I was too tired to think about. But Kat's presence started to wear on me. She seemed too involved, too eager. Her warmth around me felt too controlled, and when Zora was around, it was like she had a different face entirely. Cold. Dismissive. I never thought much of it. She was just trying to help, I assumed. But Zora? Zora noticed. I could see it in her eyes, the way she grew uncomfortable whenever Kat came around. And one night, Zora caught Kat doing something that would set off a chain of events I couldn't have predicted. It was late around midnight when Zora couldn't sleep. She wandered downstairs, drawn by the sound of papers rustling. The office. My late wife's office. The place I hadn't been able to touch since she passed. And there was Kat, rifling through Imani's desk, photographing papers, replacing them exactly where she'd found them. It sent a chill through Zora. She backed away without a sound, clutching her mother's wedding ring, the only piece of her mother that still felt real. The next morning, she came to me with a look in her eyes, like she already knew what was happening. That was the moment I should have listened. But I didn't. I brushed it off, told her she was just imagining things. Children, I thought, they don't understand these grown-up matters. And Kat, she was just trying to help. But deep down, something inside me was telling me that Zora wasn't wrong. It didn't take long before I noticed it too. The pictures of Imani were gone, her awards relegated to boxes. I told myself it was part of the healing process, that Kat was just trying to help us move forward. But Zora's nightmares had only gotten worse. Every night she would wake up, gasping for air, terrified that her mother was slipping away from her, piece by piece. And then, I found myself looking around, noticing things disappearing too. The photo of Imani, the carved box with letters Imani had written to Zora, all missing. Zora didn't say anything. She just kept a list. Her quiet determination only grew, and every time she brought it to my attention, I dismissed it. Nothing important is being thrown away, I'd say. But something told me that wasn't true. Something was very wrong. As Kat's presence in our lives grew, the tension in our home thickened. Family dinners turned awkward. Conversations about Imani turned to business talk. Kat wanted to talk about hospital administration, about my career, about what needed to be done with the house, with everything. Zora's memories, the things that kept Imani alive in her heart, were pushed to the back. The more Zora tried to bring her mother up, the more Kat steered the conversation elsewhere. And it wasn't just me who was noticing it was Zora. The way Kat treated her. The comments about her hair, her appearance. It wasn't subtle. The breaking point came one night when Zora came to me after school. Her eyes were wide with fear, and she clutched something in her hand. It was a key, Imani's key. She told me that her mother had given it to her years ago, with instructions to keep it safe. Zora had never known what it opened until now. The key led to a safety deposit box at Riverside National Bank. I didn't know what to expect, but Zora insisted we had to open it. We went to the bank the next day. It was supposed to be a routine visit, But everything changed when we saw what was inside that box. There, in that cold metal box, were documents that I never expected to see. Imani's will, a will that was different from the one Kat had been guiding me to sign. There was a version that was forged, one that gave her control over everything, over me, over Zora. I couldn't believe it. How had I been so blind? The woman I trusted, the woman who had been so close to Imani, had been systematically trying to erase everything that mattered to us. She wanted to control Imani's legacy, Imani's research, her memory, her family, and I had been too caught up in grief to see it. It was a fight from that moment on. Zora, with the quiet strength of her mother, refused to back down. She gathered every shred of evidence she could find. She enlisted the help of Dr. Marcus Green, a trusted family friend, and together they pieced together the full extent of Kat's scheme. The forged will, the tampered documents, the way Kat had infiltrated every part of our lives. And still, no one believed us. Richard? He thought Zora was just a child just grieving. But it was more than that. Zora wasn't just fighting for her mother's legacy. She was fighting for us. And I realized, too late, that I had been blind. But Zora? She wasn't going to let Kat win. The fight culminated in a confrontation, one that would change everything. With the help of Marcus and Josephine, we presented the truth. We had the proof. But Kat wasn't about to give up. She tried to manipulate me, tried to turn everyone against Zora. She even tried to get her institutionalized. But Zora, with the resilience of her mother, stood tall, even when the world told her she was too small to matter. In the end, we exposed everything. The lies, the manipulation, the poisoning. Kat was arrested, and the real will was honored. Imani's research was preserved, and Zora, my little girl, became the protector of everything her mother had worked for. And when the dust settled, Zora's voice had been the one to carry us through. Because sometimes, the youngest voices speak the most powerful truths. Zora saved our family. She saved me. And her mother's legacy was protected not by me, not by anyone else, but by her.